In our last class, we were discussing that there is always a designer behind every design. Nothing is happening by chance in this world. And Lord Krishna himself tells this in Bhagavad Gita, which we will discuss in our today's session. Let's see. Let me just read this once again. The tape recorder works, but it works according to the plans and under the direction of a living entity, a human being. The machine is complete, but unless it is manipulated by a spirit soul, it cannot work. Similarly, we should understand that this cosmic manifestation, which we call nature, is a great machine, and that behind this machine there is God, Krishna. This is also affirmed in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, Maya dhakshen prakriti suyate sa characharam henunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Maya dhakshen prakriti suyate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Maya dhakshen prakriti suyate sa characharam हेनुना नेन कौन्तेय jagat viparivartate. So you will see that Krishna is clearly telling here that Krishna is not apathetic. Apathetic means it doesn't mean that Krishna, he's God, but it doesn't mean that he is not showing or feeling any interest or concern about living entities. Krishna is so much concerned about every living entity. Very beautiful thing Prabhuji told in Srimad Bhagavatam class, that Krishna is residing in anyone's heart, everyone's heart. Basically, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj told this thing. Prabhuji just repeated his words, that any living being cannot do any worse thing, like any worse thing, which may allow Krishna to leave him. Krishna is residing in our hearts, but any living being, he cannot do any worse thing which may allow Krishna to leave from his heart, from that particular living being. So that shows that Krishna is very much concerned about every living being, whether he is accepting Krishna as Supreme Personality or not, whether he is serving Krishna or not, but Krishna is always concerned about every living being. So it doesn't mean that Krishna is apathetic. So see, Krishna is saying Maya dhakshrena prakriti, means this material nature, Prakriti, is working under Krishna's direction. Maya Dakshin means it is work. So this material nature is working under Krishna's direction. Just like house or home, it works under the head of the family, under the direction of the head of the family, husband or father. Or let's take the example of temple. Temple is working under someone's direction. So same way this material nature is working under Krishna's direction. So direction means Krishna knows everything, that what is happening and what is not happening. Very beautiful thing we will discuss in our Hindi class today, that Prabhupada ji will tell that whatever we are speaking or whatever we are not speaking, Krishna is noticing everything. Even if we are thinking something and we are not speaking it with our tongue, then also Krishna is very much aware of that thing. That what are you thinking? So Krishna knows everything. That's why you will see that earlier when we were not Krishna conscious, when we were not following this path, so Krishna didn't reveal him. But as we desired, even a little desire was there in our heart that we will do something for Krishna. Krishna was noticing everything residing in our hearts. And then he arranged the association of devotees for us. So Krishna is noticing everything residing in our hearts. Krishna is not apathetic. Krishna knows everything. Henu nanena konteya suyate sa characharam. Characharam means, char means moving, which moves, and achar means which does not move, living entities, which moves and which does not move. Does not move means which has no consciousness, non-living beings. Suyate means manifest. So Krishna is manifesting everything. So let's see. This material nature is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all the moving and unmoving beings, and by its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So yeah, it's written Jagat Viparivartate. It is annihilated again and again. Means creation and annihilation. Creation and annihilation. So this happens again and again. Srishti and Pralay. Creation, annihilation. So Bhagavad Gita 9.10. There are two kinds of entities. The moving, such as human beings, animals, and insects. Basically, which are conscious. And conscious means spirit soul is residing in that particular body. So those are the moving, char, moving beings. And non-moving, such as, just a second. Non-moving, such as trees and mountains. Krishna says, okay, see, non-moving doesn't mean non-living beings here. Non-moving means that living, they are also living, they are also conscious, but they do not move like trees and mountains. So you should know that mountains are also living beings. It's just they have very low consciousness. But mountains are also living beings. So trees and mountains which do not move. Krishna says that material nature which controls both kinds of entities is acting under his direction. Thus, behind everything there is a supreme controller. So one should understand that here it is written moving and non-moving means all the living beings. But the dead matter is also controlled by Krishna only. Nothing is beyond the control of Krishna. Krishna is controlling everything. Thus, behind everything, there is a supreme controller. Modern civilization does not understand this due to lack of knowledge. It is the purpose of this society for Krishna consciousness, therefore, to enlighten all people who have been maddened by the influence of the three modes of material nature. In the other words, our aim is to awaken mankind to its normal condition. So, what does that mean? Right now, people are not in their normal condition. They are in abnormal condition. So the purpose of this society for Krishna consciousness is that we basically tell them, we preach them, we give them this knowledge of Krishna, that whatever you see around you, it doesn't mean that if it is moving or not, whatever you see around you, it is being controlled by a supreme controller. Nothing is happening by chance here. So our aim is to awaken mankind to its normal condition. There are many universities, especially in the United States, and many departments of knowledge, but they are not discussing these points, because the very first thing, they are also not aware about these things, and they do not care about these things. Were we caring about these things when we were not practicing our devotional services? But now you will see, we are so much uh, kind of enthused to gain more and more knowledge. We have been given this human form of life to gain knowledge of scriptures only, knowledge about Krishna only. Because in this lifetime only, we can relish the teachings, the instructions of Krishna. So, yes, they are not discussing these points. Where is the department for this knowledge that we find given by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? When I spoke before students and some faculty members at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it is a university, famous university, the first question raised was, where is the technology department which is investigating the difference between a dead man and a living man? And they were all quiet, because there was no any such department in their university. When a man dies, something is lost. Where is the technology to replace it? Why don't scientists try to solve this problem? Because this is a very difficult subject matter. They set it aside and busily engage in the technology of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Now, this might be clear now that we are not meant to do these four animalistic things: eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. Is it not? There should be no doubt that we have been blessed with elevated consciousness. So it is, we are actually doing injustice with ourselves if we are getting satisfied with these four things only. We are actually doing injustice with ourselves. God has blessed us with this human body, with elevated consciousness, especially with elevated consciousness, with working senses, which we may engage in service of Lord. Otherwise, you will see there are some people who have been given human form of life, but then also it is not necessary that their senses might be working. So we are really fortunate. So we should invest our more and more time to hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, to get more and more knowledge about Krishna. Vedic literatures inform us that this is animal technology. Animals are also trying their best to eat well, to have an enjoyable sex life, to sleep peacefully, and to defend themselves. What then is the difference between man's knowledge and animal's knowledge? Even though you will see animals don't have to work very hard to attain these four things. So, are we human beings foolish than even animals? That we are working so hard to just get these four things, which animals are getting very easily. It is easily available to them. One should think that why we have been given so much facilities that we can sit peacefully in our room, in our houses, we can sleep peacefully, we can eat peacefully, whatever we are doing, we can do it very peacefully. But same, the case is not same with animals. They are always afraid of everything they do. They are always afraiding. Even if they are consuming food, then also they can't consume it very peacefully. But we can peacefully consume our food. We can peacefully honor prasadam nicely. So why we have been given these facilities? So that we may do our devotional services very, very nicely. You might have seen any animal, you just see a dog, if he's consuming his food, then he will always see around him, oh, may not someone kick me? Or you see the birds, if they are also consuming something, so they will eat, then they will see, then eat, then they will see. They are always afraiding that, oh, may someone not come and catch me. Same for monkeys and other animals. But this case is not with us. Just put yourself in such condition that you are so much afraid, you are consuming food and you are afraiding like animals. Will this not be terrible? But we have been given amazing facilities by Lord so that we may serve Him nicely. And we can only do this in this human form of life only. So the fact is that man's knowledge should be developed to explore the difference between a living man and a dead man, a living body and a dead body. That spiritual knowledge was imparted by Krishna to Arjuna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Which knowledge? To explore the difference between a living man and a dead man, living body and a dead body. Being a friend of Krishna's, Arjun was a very intelligent man, but his knowledge, as all men's, was limited. So even you will see Krishna was there in front of Arjuna. But then also Arjuna only understood the knowledge when Krishna spoke to him. So same way, if we are visiting temple, it is very nice that we visit temple. You are visiting temple to do darshana of Krishna. That DK is Krishna only. But until and unless you will hear from him means hearing in disciplic succession. Whatever we are hearing in disciplic succession, it is directly coming from Krishna only. There is no difference. So until and unless you will not hear about him, how will you come to know that who is he? You will see this if you will follow Krishna's instructions, you will feel more and more liberated. Even though you are living here in this material world, but then also you will feel so much liberated, so much free from unnecessary anxiety. But anyone who is not following the instructions of Krishna, you will see they are always in anxiety. So we should be compassionate on them. Just make them chant Hare Krishna. You just plead them. You just say, I will do whatever you want, but you just chant Hare Krishna. Just chant it, just chant one round, if not more. I'm really focusing on this point these days. Whoever has left Krishna consciousness means what? Whoever has left, now I'm just trying to take them again. That okay, you don't do much if you are not able to do. You just chant one round of Hare Krishna. That's it. Okay. So these subjects are called adhokshaj because our direct perception by which we acquire material knowledge fails to approach them. For example, if we have many powerful microscopes to see what we cannot see with our limited vision, but there is no microscope that can show us the soul within the body. Nevertheless, the soul is there. So we can't see any spiritual thing with our material senses. This is also one thing. Let me tell one thing related to this. Once, one scientist he packed up the body of a human being in a glass box. Basically, that human being was about to leave his body. So he packed that person in a glass box and he was assuming this that once that soul will leave this body, we will catch that soul. We will be able to see it. We will catch that. Or that soul will not be able to come out from that glass box. So that's why they packed that body in a glass box. So it is completely foolishness because we can't see or we can't catch soul because it is spiritual and we are in material world. We have material senses. And this is the only reason we are not able to experience our own self. We are just identifying ourselves with this material body. Even though we hear this every single day that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, but then also we end up identifying ourselves with this body. And that's why we end up getting depressed about things because we are so much engrossed in bodily conception. So that's why it is necessary that we do our sadhanas very, very nicely. We chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra very nicely. Hear Krishna Katha, the discussions that we do, classes that we attend. We should try to completely absorb ourselves while hearing the classes because that is purifying our contaminated heart. And as this contamination will gradually reduce, we will be able to experience our own self, that we are not this body. Bhagavad Gita informs us that in this body there is a proprietor. I am the proprietor, and others are the proprietors of their bodies. I say my hand, but not I hand. Is it not? Whenever we see our hand, we will always say that this is my hand. We will not say that I hand or I leg. My leg is paining. We will always say this. So I am different from the hand. Other body parts of the body being its owner. Similarly, we speak of my eye, my leg, my this, my that. In the midst of all of these objects which belong to me, where am I? So, who am I? If I am not this hand, if I am not this leg, if I am not this eye, if I am not this ear, then who am I? The search for the answer to this question is the process of meditation. In real meditation, we ask, where am I? What am I? We cannot find the answers to these questions by any material effort. And because of this, all the universities are setting these questions aside because they are only, only engrossed in materialistic efforts. You study more and more, then you will get a great job, then you will earn more and more, then you will get a nice partner, then you marry that partner, then this, that. People are just engrossed in these materialistic things only. And they're just keeping these questions aside. Literally, if you will, like, if you ever try to preach anybody, you will see if you start telling them about that we are not this body, we are soul, they'll be like, yeah, okay, we are not interested. We have heard this, but we don't want to hear all these things. So they just keep these things aside. They don't want to hear about these things. So we should, first of all, we should always make them chant Hare Krishna. You don't tell them that we are soul, we are not this body. At very first, like few weeks, you just tell them that I am chanting this mantra. This is very amazing mantra. I'm experiencing very amazing things in my life. So you also chant this mantra. Don't tell anything to them. Very soon, Prabhuji will be discussing Namashtakam by Srila Rup Goswami ji. Very amazing, where Srila Rup Goswami ji is telling the glories of Harinam, that how amazing this Harinam is. Please don't miss that session. Very amazing session. It's gonna be. Please hear that. That how today only Prabhuji was telling a little about the glories of Harinam in morning japa. That anyone who is chanting this great Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he's just chanting. He's not aware about the glories, about the benefits of the mantra, but then also he's just chanting. But this Naam Prabhu, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is so merciful that even that person is chanting, he's not aware about the benefit or glories, but then also he will get the benefit just by chanting. Gradually, he himself will experience detachment. And I can really relate with this because when I started chanting this mantra, I was not aware about the glories of this mantra. I was just knowing this that this mantra is wish fulfilling. So my only wish was that I may become most confident person of this whole world. This was my desire, and I can observe that I don't hesitate now. I don't hesitate now. So yes, even I was not aware about the glories of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but then also when I was chanting, I was experiencing detachment. My unnecessary desires of purchasing more and more clothes, purchasing more and more other things was getting reduced day by day. And I was also wondering what is happening with me. Why I'm not attracted with all these shoppings and all now. So this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is amazing. So you just make them chant this mantra. Don't tell them much philosophy at first. Later, as they continuously, consistently, they'll be chanting this mantra. They will be able to understand the knowledge also very nicely. Okay, so with this, we will stop our discussion here and we will continue it in our next class if Krishna is willing. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.